What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today is episode 252, and week one of college football is here. It is the week one college football preview. This might be going up Saturday morning. This might be
most
live,
likely is, yes.
right during kickoff of Clemson, Georgia, and Penn State, West Virginia, and that early first window slate. Penn State, West Virginia, that should be big noon kickoff for sure. Clemson, Georgia on ESPN at noon Eastern. First game for, you know what? Yeah, Florida State, Georgia Tech, that was technically the first game of the year. But, year zero, it's kind of like a easier way into it. You're not doing your college football Saturday traditions for week zero, unless you were a Florida State, Georgia Tech fan, then sure. But for the general college football population, this is week one. This weekend is the first official mark,
alert, right?
Yeah. Oh, was that it? Was that an Amber Alert? Or
no, that's a fraud alert.
Oh no, that's an official fraud alert. That's also a sign that college football is back. We have fraud alerts back. Everett, I want to shout you out.
Yeah, I specifically moved
selecting a location right next to a fire station. So that's great call on you. We love fire stations. They are perfect timing. We do not tell them when we're about to address a fraud. It would have been really great if we were just talking about DJ Uiagalelei right there. That would have been perfect. But college football week one preview. Everett, we got to start off with the morning games. This game might be going on right now. Georgia may have already scored a touchdown right now.
It might be 21 to 3 already. It might be over.
Yeah, if I remember this correctly,
keep in mind how I did not say 28 to 3. No, 21 to 3.
Yeah, and also this game, the Georgia team involved playing in Atlanta, it's kind of a low blow saying a 28 to 3 there.
Yeah, neutral ground, and
neutral site in Atlanta, Georgia. But if I remember this correctly, the last time Georgia opened off their season with a neutral site game in Atlanta, they played a first-year Dan Lanning Oregon Ducks team, and I think Georgia won
pretty handedly,
63-0, 56-0. I'm pretty sure they shut out Oregon, but it was a slaughtering. Not fair, not okay. Was not safe. Pretty sure Stetson was still a quarterback at the time. So
was Stetson starting?
Brock Bowers was like a true sophomore at the time. No, Stetson had already won a nat.
You're saying this would have been like two years ago. Yeah.
I believe quite literally 2 years ago.
I was thinking Justin Herbert era Oregon for some reason.
Like right after that. But
it would have to be. I don't know who the quarterback would have been, but
yeah, it's just very cute though that Georgia can get their neutral site game in here. This is a home game for Georgia in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And Georgia's opening up as a 13.5 point favorite. Which that's an interesting line to me.
For a home game?
Yeah, well, just in general, first week of the season, it's the first week of the year. First game of the season. These teams are not even close to where they're going to be at the end of the season. And first week, it's pretty unpredictable making selections. I feel like a lot of the time I like to lean towards a double-digit underdog to cover in week one, just because, hey, it's week one. Stuff happens. Not everything's all figured out. So that's an interesting line to me. Over under also set at 48.5.
I feel like that's a little low. Felt like that's a little low.
Yeah. And so, when I look at those lines, I feel like Vegas might be begging you to take the over. But when it comes to that Clemson Georgia line, I'm not sure.
How much faith do you have in Cade Klubnik?
Not too much.
So
and after last year, and it's year 2 with Garrett Riley. Last year, going into last season, I was saying Dabo picked up the best coordinator hire of the offseason with Garrett Riley. I was clearly incorrect about that last year. But maybe year 2. Oh, well, this is another thing. Clemson, they're with the Dabo approach, made in God's NIL, no transfer portal. Players show up at Clemson as freshmen and you leave as a Clemson Tiger. That's it. Last year, Clemson was starting so many true freshmen. So many young guys were starting across the board, especially on defense. And next season, they're going to be true sophomores. You have a full year of college football under their belt. I expect, maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself, thinking Clemson's going to be in that AC title game. No Florida State this year. Maybe I'm a year early. But I expect Clemson to take a lot of strides throughout the season. We'll see if week 1 they're ready for Georgia. I would definitely say no. It is Georgia we're talking about. But this is a big, I don't know. There could be a morale boost if Clemson shows up and doesn't win and plays a good game. That's how I'm looking at it for Clemson. Also, just with the new 12-team format, 10-2 is the number. Clemson can drop this game and be completely fine. And it's not an ACC game. Florida State has an ACC loss already. So at the end of the day, if you're a Clemson fan, we're going out there. We're hoping for the best, but if we get smoked, it's not the end of the day. What I do want to really look at, though, is the Georgia defense. I'm very interested to see how they do. Obviously, they've had a lot of things this offseason. Smile Munden specifically, I'm looking at. I'm very, very interested to see what he's going to do. I believe it's now his true senior year. Smile Munden's one of the players I'm looking at a lot out of Georgia. Also, I want to see if Georgia can get a pass rush next season. Fun fact of the day, Everett. Last year, did you know Georgia didn't have a single player that recorded over 5 sacks? Probably the largest drop-off in sack production.
No, I did not know that.
You could ever think of for the Georgia Bulldogs. We're talking about Georgia. Well, you would assume they have multiple amazing pass rushers every year. I think that's a key focus this offseason for Georgia. Let's get the pass rush back. Let's get the sack production back. And let's go attack the quarterback and be aggressive. That's what I'm really looking at here. And that's also your formula of success, beating a younger quarterback in Cade Klubnik. You want to pressure him. You want to give him
define younger for Cade Klubnik.
He's been sophomore, correct?
I thought he was a redshirt sophomore.
Let me confirm.
Thought he had been around for a little bit.
Oh, he's already a redshirt or a true junior. So in a way, but just 1 year starting under his belt, he didn't necessarily look fantastic.
I guess he did play a little bit.
Well, you know what? That's the thing.
Was there, so that makes sense.
Me just calling him young, like it's in my mind, Cade Klubnik did not show himself very much. Like he did not impress very much last season.
No, he did not improve much.
He is a true junior. He is not a young quarterback. He's older than most players in college football now. You are correct. So I'll put a finger up. That's on me. Cade Klubnik does not have a pass as a young quarterback. Garrett Riley, you better get this shit figured out.
Yeah, I mean, like my biggest thing to see. So obviously, last episode, if you guys didn't listen to it, highly recommend. But like the big thing from last episode that we looked into was what the win threshold basically per conference was going to be able to make the playoffs. This is going to be an interesting test because I feel like this series, like this matchup, really is going to determine that level of how many wins you need for either the ACC or for the SEC. Georgia somehow loses, that the threshold from being 10-2 might end up being
could drop because it's
be 9-3. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In the comparison, if Clemson wins ACC, that shit, you can't lose.
ACC stock is through the roof. Clemson wins this game. Straight up. If you are just let's say you're an SMU football fan right now, joining the ACC. You are rooting for Clemson. You are rooting for Clemson because it will make you look good by nature. And we're always rooting against the SEC. We all need to band together as a collective non-SEC fandom to always gang up against the SEC when we can, because they are that much powerful than all of us. But yeah, I'd say that one, really excited to see how Georgia's going to work. Also, I'm hearing Georgia having some running back injuries. I believe Brian Robinson II is out for this game, and
they have
Trevor
another Brian
Etienne
Robinson?
is yeah, and Trevor Etienne's like questionable day to day. So we'll see. We'll see exactly how, what happens there. Also interesting, SEC today on Thursday issued a rule that SEC teams need to injury report on Wednesday.
Yes, did see that.
It is a Thursday though. That is now in place. So do all schools have to just do that like right now
instantaneously? I feel like it probably just starts next week.
Yeah, probably.
Or
maybe
it's instituted.
Yeah, actually,
it could.
Yeah, they're not giving
Clemson
any advantage.
It could also be instituted to start next like another year. Like there's a possibility it's just not even right.
That
now.
is very true too.
Didn't really look into that one.
Didn't quite read the details on that report. Just saw that and I was like, the Big Ten would never. But yeah, that's the Clemson Georgia breakdown. Give me Georgia to cover.
Okay, I can take that now.
Give me Georgia to cover.
The game that matters the most to both of us right now is probably the USC LSU game.
It is USC LSU, but that is on Sunday. There are two other big games Saturday I really want to get to. First,
Oregon, Idaho.
Quick little shout out. We'll be going on same time as Clemson, Georgia, Penn State, West Virginia. Little Big 10, Big 12 matchup there. That one, I expect Penn State to kind of control that game on defense and line of scrimmage, running the ball too. But that one I actually line opened at 10.5 and it's now down to -8. A lot of money on West Virginia.
Now, I'm curious what you think. I'm curious what you think. Miami, Florida, battle of Florida. The line for Miami right now is -2.5 at Florida.
So this is very interesting.
You're high on the Hurricane.
I'm very high on Miami. This just, let's look at these two programs right now. Both from a 1-year perspective and kind of a surrounding things going on. Like Miami and Florida, Cristobal and holy shit, Billy Napier. I think Billy Napier has much more pressure than Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, I would probably say that.
At home in the swamp, Billy Napier and the Florida Gators, it's been an interesting path the past couple of seasons. And so I would say there's more pressure on Florida to win this game than Miami. And so with that in mind, I can understand the line being in favor of Miami here. With that being said, though, give me Gators +2.5.
Gators +2.5.
Give me Gators. Give me the points too.
So then your whole spiel about Miami, 1, winning the ACC championship, and 2, making the playoffs probably goes out the window if they lose this game.
Well, if Miami loses this game, that doesn't impact ACC at all.
No, but it impacts
vibes-wise. Yes, you are.
It's gonna impact their resume and also impact the vibes for the rest of the season. You start off first week with an L.
Oh, 100%. No. Like vibes.
Florida to Billy Napier of all people. Yeah, no, we'll see you later.
Exactly.
You're not
exactly.
So you better. Hey, if you right now, like this would be the game you bite your bullet on. If you're gonna be on Miami the whole season, you got to say Miami's.
Well. This is
you've been high on Miami, so this is your chance. You either take Miami or you take Florida. If you take Florida,
if Miami loses this game, if Miami loses this game, that does not impact the ACC championship at all.
I'm just saying, if Miami loses, if Clemson and Miami both lose, technically speaking, yes. But if Miami loses to Florida,
no. But Everett, if Miami loses and Clemson wins, nothing changes in the ACC.
I'm just saying, you've been touting Miami as being this juggernaut in the ACC
to beat the ACC. I believe when Miami goes up against ACC teams, they're going to win.
If they can't beat Florida, they're not going to beat fucking Clemson, dude. That's not how it works here.
To the swamp.
Okay. Still, like
you don't respect the swamp. Is this what we're figuring out?
I respect the swamp. I'm just saying,
I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm an Ohio State fan.
I don't respect Billy Napier.
True, and you were also not respecting Mario Cristobal for the past 3 episodes too.
No, but I respect Mario more than Billy fucking Napier.
Hey, you don't. Hey, trust me. I don't have a lot of respect for Billy Napier, so you don't need to remind me.
You got more than
I will say
Mario.
Though, as an Ohio State fan, I will never forget when Urban Meyer, my king himself, said, as much as it is, an afternoon in Columbus, as great as it is playing in the shoe has nothing on afternoon start of a 3:30 kickoff in the Swamp.
No, 100.
I don't know how many more times this season the Swamp will be rocking Everett. Okay, I don't know how many more times.
Yeah,
I can guarantee week 1 with a clean slate where they're still undefeated. The Swamp's going to be rocking.
I mean, I agree. I'm just saying, based off of what you've been saying about Miami, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
When I think of Miami, it's all in reference to the ACC.
It's still, even in comparison to the ACC, Florida, even if it's at Florida.
Okay, this is a quick little fun fact. According to sports book makers, okay, odds projections, predictors, whatever. If the Florida Gators were in the Big 12, they would be the easy favorite to win the conference.
Yeah, the entire Big 12 sucks.
True. Now,
it's not the ACC.
Let's take it to the ACC. I don't have that exact measurement off the top of my head, not going to lie. But on a pure talent perspective, Florida is either just as, if not more talented than Miami. And then it's in the Swamp against Miami, where the Florida Gator fans are going to be a little extra hostile. It's just tough going into the Swamp. If this game was played in Miami, despite Miami having 0 home ground advantage, I'd like Miami there just because they're not in the Swamp, not because of Miami home field advantage. It's the Swamp. That's the factor here. Week 1. That's why I like Florida. And if Florida beats Miami, it doesn't impact the AC championship game at all.
All right. Okay. I'm just saying, it just goes against what you've been touting for the last 5 episodes.
I would say another thing though with my Miami prediction is I just wasn't too high on Florida State.
Fair, but you were talking up Miami, like regardless of that.
No, yeah, like on talent wise, what's there? Like they do have the pieces this year, and so I am getting high on them, but it is the Swamp.
All right.
I don't know.
All right, look, let's go into Texas A&M Notre Dame now. Another game this weekend, another big game on Saturday.
Yeah, this is a very big game for Mike Elko. If Mike Elko week 1 can get this win, that's going to be massive for him and for any A&M fans who are a little on the fence of the Elko hire. He might not be the most popular name they could have gone after. Mike Elko is an excellent football coach, and I do think that Mike Elko was one of the best hires they could have had at A&M, and he could steer the ship right here much better than a Jimbo Fisher could.
True, but on the flip side, this is a huge game for Notre Dame's status.
That as well, yes.
Freeman's status. So I just doesn't matter if it's Mike Elko or not. You're playing a ranked opponent. You're playing there. You've had high expectations before, went low, and keep in mind every game for Notre Dame matters because there's no conference.
Oh yeah.
So if they want a chance of being in the playoffs, you got to win this. You want a chance for vibes and for your Notre Dame fans, you got to win this game.
I'm also just looking at the rest of Notre Dame's schedule. Currently 3 ranked teams: A&M week 1, Florida State late in the year at home.
They might not be ranked at that point.
Actually, that's a good point.
They're not going to be ranked.
And then end of the year at USC, and I would lean way more towards USC not being ranked for the last week.
I would lean USC ranked maybe 20 to 25.
Yeah, if they are ranked, it's not a crazy ranked opponent win. So
unless Miller comes out and hides and campaigns this shit, in which case
we'll get into that in the USC LSU breakdown. But this is a big game. You are correct with A&M. This could potentially be the toughest opponent they face all year. Now, what do you want to hear my prediction first, or do you want to give yours?
Yeah, no, let's go with yours. We can go with yours first. That's all right.
Now, Notre Dame has to go to Texas A&M. I don't have any of these off the top of my head. I'm trying to think, but I'm trying to think of Marcus Freeman's anytime he was coaching against a notable opponent, and what
I
exactly his
mean, really,
record
you would
is.
have just been looking at last season for the most part. And I mean, last season, if we look at it, they
Whoops,
played
pulled up the
Ohio
wrong
State. Ohio State lost by 3. They beat Duke. They lost to Louisville, and they beat number 10 USC. And they beat the brakes off of Oregon State. But I don't think DJU was playing that game.
Yeah, okay. So this is what I'll give to Freeman. Clemson, he did beat year one. That's
lost
a big game
last
that he
year.
won. Lost last year.
So I mean,
yeah, okay,
Ohio
it's
State,
not like
Ohio
it's
State
overwhelmingly one way. It's not like it's overwhelmingly one way. Like I was kind
outside of
getting
Ohio
ready
State,
to have a Dan Lanning take there, how he can't win the big game, but
outside of Ohio State, he's been able to
no, yeah, it's
mostly at least split with ranked opponents.
Yeah, I would say that is this one's a little bit closer than I thought. I will just say that week one, and it's in A&M, and I can guarantee
A&M's
A&M will be rocking for this. I can't
A&M,
guarantee that in 4 weeks.
A&M's got the line right now. They're favorited.
Yeah, right now A&M's 3-point favorite, lined open at 1 point. Yeah, and it's also a nighttime primetime start. Yeah, A&M. If Notre Dame can go into A&M and win this game at a 6:30 kickoff, local or 6:30 kickoff at A&M, that would be one of the most impressive wins of the season. But that just seems like a pretty tall task. Give me A&M.
Yeah, I just Notre Dame. I mean, we don't know what Riley Leonard's going to look like. I mean, just so happened to break out last season. Could be great, could be mid. You know, you'll have to see, and really you'll learn quickly. You know, this game, but I think that if Notre Dame loses this game, it could cause, you know, the rest of the season to kind of go off a cliff quickly. And I'm not saying that just because I'm not saying like, look, they lose to A&M. It could obviously they'll beat Northern Illinois, right? They'll beat Purdue. Yeah, Purdue might be the worst fucking team in the nation. But once you get into these bigger games, Louisville,
I don't see them having a chance of dropping a game till maybe Florida State, maybe. And
no, they could depending on how that Georgia Tech team plays.
Dude, Georgia Tech is not going.
If they come out and they
Bend,
shit the bed versus A&M,
going to South Bend. If that Georgia Tech game's at Notre Dame, you think Georgia Tech could go to Notre Dame?
If Notre Dame shits the bed versus A&M and Georgia Tech keeps playing like they played last week, I mean, it's any given game. You never know.
I disagree. Yeah, no, I'm ready to say there's a 0% chance Georgia Tech could beat Notre Dame this year. I don't see now A&M if Notre Dame lose that game, I don't see a chance that they lose again until Florida State. If like at worst, Notre Dame's 9-3 this year. At worst.
No, I'd agree with that. I just don't agree with the games that they would lose.
Like
last year, they lost to Louisville.
In Notre Dame, that's the one you want to stick on?
They lost to Louisville last year, too, by the way.
In Louisville.
Yeah, but I still, like, there's only so much a home field advantage is going to do.
A Notre Dame home field advantage is something, Everett.
No, I'm not disregarding that. I am just saying if a team is playing like dog shit going into a game, I don't give a fuck if you're Bama. If Bama's playing dog shit and they're playing in Bama and you have a somewhat competent team come in there, it's not going to matter how loud that crowd is because on paper, the other team is just better.
Well, that is true. If one team is
if Notre Dame
better talent-wise,
if Notre Dame is shitting the bed versus
more talented than Georgia.
Saying, yeah, but I'm just saying as a general thing because you asked me whether or not I'm like disregarding the home field advantage for Notre Dame. I'm not disregarding it, but I'm saying if Notre Dame is playing like dog shit and a team that's just hot comes in there, it's not going to matter if the team, like the home field advantage is not going to play in as much as you're expecting it to.
I get what you're saying there. Yeah, no, what the thing where I'd say the disconnect is like I don't see a route where Notre Dame somehow like regresses and Georgia Tech improves so much
I'm just saying.
over the span of like 5
I,
weeks.
as a general note, I'm just saying. I think people are underrating Georgia Tech. I think that
That's okay.
I'm not saying they're going to win that game, but I am saying there's a potential. There's a possibility that they do win that game. I'm not saying they will, but I'm not saying it's a 1% chance that they do. Like I'm saying, it's going to be a game. We're going to have a game.
Okay. But I would disagree with the season falls off the rails.
I'm just saying per Notre Dame standard, per Notre Dame standard, if they start off with a loss, it's going to be like they'll pick up those easy games, right? Whatever. But the easy games only do so much that when you go into that next like ranked opponent or whatever, right? Like you only get so many opportunities. And if they come in and they could be 9-3, right? But if they have lost their ranked matchup games, there's a question. There's a question there.
Well, I mean, if Notre Dame's 9-3,
even if they're
worry about the Holiday Bowl, bro.
But let's say they go 10-2, right? And let's say when they go to play, let's say they lose to Texas A&M, who's ranked right now, right? Let's say we get into this back half of the year, right? And only one of the two matchups that they play right now that are ranked between USC and Florida State are ranked games, right? Let's say only one of those two games are ranked. If they drop
to the ranked team,
the
unranked,
and
let's do that.
Yeah, so they lose to the ranked team. So now their only two losses are to the only two ranked opponents that they've played, but they're 10-2. It doesn't matter. Like you can't make the fucking playoffs losing to the only two ranked opponents that you've played. I don't care if you're ranked.
Actually, let's say that like if they're 10-2 and their two losses are to the ranked ones, I agree with you, and I hate Notre Dame, and I would not want them in. Any reason to take Notre Dame out? Yes, sign me up with you.
That's why I'm saying though that the season kind of falls off because you only have 3 opportunities right now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like I would say though, for the 10-2 thing, if Notre Dame finishes 10-2 with no ranked wins, it's pretty much just not in their control. They don't control their own destiny. If that makes for them to get in that scenario, there needs to only be 6 available 10-win teams to make those spots. If there's 7, then Notre Dame won't
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. I'm just saying, like as of right now, they have 3 matchups that are ranked. At least one of the 2 at the end of the year most likely will not be a ranked matchup. So if you as an independent conference, as an independent school, want to make the playoffs, you need to win this game. Like this is the best.
Well, yeah, it makes everything a lot easier.
Well, but also like this is the best chance to display, resume wise, win wise, your team 100%. Is capable. And if you can't, pick up a win on the rest of the season, your players are gonna be like, I don't know if we can make the playoffs. Like it's an intrinsic thing.
I will say, as an outside fan right now, if we're talking about meaningful, interesting football games down the stretch, I hope Notre Dame loses this game. So that USC matchup at the end of the year really has some shit on the line.
Okay.
Like, that's one fun thing about college football this year. When we get into November, late in the season, we're not just going to be looking at Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, and Clemson or Florida State to see what they do. Those 10-1 Notre Dame is now one of the most watched games in the country because if they win, they're in. Like
no, I completely agree. But you don't want to be in that situation.
No, you don't want to be in that situation if you're Notre Dame. If you're a college football fan, you want that situation though, because I think another playoff game.
If Notre Dame wins this game, they can probably go undefeated the whole year. If they lose this game, they could end up losing 3 games on the season, and that's a pretty big swing.
I want to meet you. I don't think Notre Dame can go undefeated this year. I don't think so. I don't think they're that good enough.
I'm
I
just looking at their
expect some
schedule, and their
Freeman choke.
schedule is dog shit.
Oh yeah, no, very true, very true. I think the
it is
very
ass.
true. Like I'm also looking. Everett, guess how many road games Notre Dame will play between September 14th and November 30th?
Ew.
Those are the
0.
2 away games. They will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight home, 2 months straight in South Bend. Everett, what? Who gave them this joke of a cupcake sketch? What? They get 8 straight home games in the heart of the season? There's no excuses in South Bend this year. No excuses. And my headphone just came out real quick, so I can't hear anything.
Grant's too aggravated. It's too. You are definitely not back. Grant is definitely not back. His microphone is completely out now. But okay, Grant stuff's better now. But I mean, my whole thing with Notre Dame is just
they have Marcus Freeman.
They have such an easy schedule. Like, that's the first problem. Second thing is, even with that being the case, if they lose to A&M, the reason I say the whole thing falls on the break is, like, I just think that they're going to go into those matchups versus the other teams that are good on their schedule coming back, and they're just going to choke those games. So I think the swing is from 12-0, which is what I think they would do if they can beat A&M, who prospectively is the best team that they're going to play this year, to 3 losses, which is all the ranked teams that they might play. So I don't know. That's that. But let's get into the Sunday night
game of the week.
Game of
the week.
In the Death Star.
Primetime Sunday night in the Death Star. Stormtroopers active. Emperor Palpatine is back. We got a game on our hands, folks. Okay. First thing first, something I want to highlight. Just Lincoln Riley versus Brian Kelly. I think this is going to be the first time they've ever coached against each other. I have 0 facts on that.
I don't know.
I can't think of a time Oklahoma and
Notre
Dame. But yeah, I can't think of when that happened. So I think this is gonna be the first. Yeah, and Brian Kelly was not at Notre Dame when Lincoln showed up. That was Marcus Freeman. So never have a USC Notre Dame matchup. But what I'm very interested in this game is the USC passing offense versus the LSU passing defense. LSU historically has always had great DBs, phenomenal DBs. If you look in the NFL, you can probably find one on every single NFL team. But it hasn't been quite the same production out of a DB room as you would expect an LSU DB room to have under Brian Kelly. Also, Harold Perkins, I think they said they're like moving him to Will. He was the 3rd greatest true freshman pass rusher in the history of the sport. Why are you making him play off-ball linebacker? When he goes to the NFL and becomes Micah Parsons, like, you got no one to blame but yourself for having him play inside linebacker when he is an edge rusher. But whatever, do what you guys want to do over there. But I'm most interested in USC's passing offense versus LSU's defense. Another thing, I've been seeing the Miller Moss hype. It's rising. Okay. I'm not saying we're boiling yet. I'm not saying we're steaming. I'm not saying the top has came off the pan.
Are we in rat poison territory?
We are very much so in rat poison territory. I also want to say Big Cat placed a bet on Miller to win the Heisman. That's essentially the kiss of death in this industry. So the odds are against Miller, but may the odds be in his favor. The Katniss line. I'm so excited to see what USC's receivers do. A name to remember: Jacoby Lane. Jacoby Lane last year, I believe, was like 6'4", 175. He put on 25 pounds of muscle this offseason. And Lincoln Riley has been pretty much hiding him, bubble wrapping him, keeping him hidden away from anyone, not letting anyone scout him. Because everyone's talking about Zachariah Branch. He'll, of course, be the main weapon in the offense. But Lane is another guy that I'm really looking forward to kind of provide a big mismatch down the field. So like USC, another thing, they have a bunch of different sized wide receivers. So Zachariah Branch is kind of your shifty, I don't know, I would say prototypical NFL build, like around 6 foot flat, like 180 to 200, like the Justin Jefferson build, but he's smaller. He's smaller than Justin Jefferson, way smaller. But they also have two really big receivers. So Jacoby Lane's obviously 6'4", 200, and Deuce Robinson, who was a tight end that they're now just having him play wide receiver. He's like 6'6", 230. So like
big body guy.
They got a wide variety of receiver types, body types out there for Miller. So I'm very excited to see what they can do there. But also I am very, very interested to see how USC's defense, first year under D'Anton Lynn, what they can do against Nussmeier. I've been hearing a lot about Nussmeier from LSU fans, been hearing a lot. So I'm expecting something out of him. And as a USC fan, even though we got a new DC, it's going to take a while to get all that Grinch out of the program. So we're like
to eradicate
it. I'm not expecting a major change year one. This is an adjustment year for the defense.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I like USC in this game.
I do too, and maybe I'm buying into the rap. Like, give me USC in this one, but like
at least at a bare minimum, the line's -4.5 for LSU. I will happily take +4.5 USC, and I will happily take that.
Yeah, give me the plus. I also feel like that line's pretty high at 64.5. But yeah, give me the over. Give me the over. I'm seeing fireworks in this one. Fireworks.
I just don't know how I feel about the LSU offense. Like, I cannot name a wide receiver that they have right now. Like, well, I don't really know outside of the quarterback.
No,
I have no idea.
And do you trust a guy named Nussmeier?
Honestly, that's a college quarterback name. That's a college quarterback name.
It is a college quarterback name, but in the most college thing, like that inspires zero confidence in me. I hear the name Nussmeier, and I'm like, college football quarterback, more Cade McNamara college football quarterback than like a JT Barrett.
Yeah, you get a little DJU kind of vibe out of that name.
Yeah, like.
Look, I just
very inspired with Nussmeier slinging the rock.
I think that the LSU defense is not up to the typical standard that LSU defenses are. And I think that in general, there's been a tendency for Brian Kelly to falter when the lights are brightest, especially recently. And because of that, like last season, obviously LSU won 3 games or lost 3 games, right? But all 3 of those games were their ranked opponent matchups, Grant, outside of Missouri. But Bama, Ole Miss, Florida State lost all 3 of them. So going into this week, it's going to be interesting to see how that changes. And keep in mind, that's with Jaden Daniels at quarterback. And I know USC is no Bama. USC is no Ole Miss, right?
That's very funny that both schools just lost a Heisman winning quarterback and now they face off against each other.
But yeah, Bama, obviously USC is no Bama, USC is no FSU, and USC is no Ole Miss. But I think USC overall is the better team here. And I think that they've done enough to be explosive enough there's not much, like it's going to be a game of trading shots. And I don't think LSU's offense can keep up.
Yeah. I also important to note, homecoming game for Zachariah Branch, went to Bishop Gorman in Vegas. He's back. We might have to throw that Branch first touchdown score prop right now, Everett. We might have to just do that right now.
I also this is a statement game for USC because since Lincoln Riley's been there,
so much is there for this game.
It's a statement game for Miller Moss, obviously, but it's a statement game for Lincoln Riley because in his tenure at USC, they haven't really accomplished anything.
They haven't accomplished anything.
So their ranked opponents, it's always been, Caleb Williams can't win the big game or Lincoln Riley can't coach in the big game. Well, You're starting off, first of all, this season is going to be your test. LSU, Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame. All right. That's going to be a test. That is 4 ranked opponents
Tall
this season.
task.
Second of all, you're
Not
starting the
easy,
season
not
off
easy.
versus an SEC opponent. Like, lights are as bright as they can be here outside of the playoffs. So if you want to test, this is what you do.
That's the only game on Sunday. There's no NFL on that day. Preseason's over. Everybody will be watching that game. Everybody will be watching that game, Everett. So what you made of? What are you made of, Lincoln Riley? Let's find out. Like it is very like USC just their season can go in so many different directions by week 6. They have LSU that game. Then they go to the Big House. Then they get Wisconsin at home, and then they have Penn State. Like those are all 4 very tough opponents. And another thing I want to point out, like that isn't quite highlighted as much, is like in the Big Ten, when you get into early to mid to late October, and it's just unpredictable weather games, there's a lot of times where you just got to pound the rock. You just got to pound the rock and control line of scrimmage. And when you do that for 8 straight weeks in the heart of the year, not everyone in your O-line and front seven is going to be completely healthy. I think I'd go so far to say every single person on your O-line and front seven will have some little banged up injury.
As somebody who has experienced a
schedule.
team that ran the rock for, I don't know, probably 9 straight weeks in 2022. Yeah, even on.
Would you confirm that or deny that? Confirm.
I will confirm that. I will confirm that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought my intuition may have been correct there. But
it's not. I don't think it's as extensive as you think.
Yeah, no,
yes.
I'm not saying every single dude has like a borderline crazy injury. I'm not saying that. But like, hey, Big Ten, these are slightly bigger car crashes in the trenches, if you know what I mean, than in the Pac-12.
Yeah,
and
it's a sin.
You're gonna need backup trucks to like get through a Big Ten season easily. Like I'm seeing some USC fans think will happen on Twitter. Newsflash, as an Ohio State fan, I know this very well. Having good skill guys does not equal a Big Ten championship. Having 3 first-round wide receivers isn't enough to overcome.
Let's just say this, Grant, we're both taking USC for this game.
Yeah, that makes me a little bit concerned. But yeah,
we're both taking USC. Okay,
we may have jinxed them, but yes.
But let's end with this. Grant, EA Sports did 100 simulations of this season.
I don't think I've seen this article.
It just came out like 20 minutes ago. 100 simulations of the season. I want you to guess who the top 5 championship winners were, and then guess who the top 5 Heisman winners were. That's how we're going to end this episode.
Okay, top 5 Natty champs. Okay.
This is saying.
Do you also have playoff appearances numbers?
I don't think so.
Who made it?
I can check. No. But this is just basically saying, okay,
Heisman's weird. I have no idea.
This team won it X amount out of 100 times. They're ranking it per like. Hey,
I'm gonna say number 1 was Georgia.
Okay. Keep going. Just go through all of them.
Yeah. Let me go through all of them. I'm gonna say number one Georgia. 2. Is Stadium Pulse worth more than Ohio State's offense? What in that Ohio State Oregon sim?
It's a simulation.
I'm gonna say Ohio State. I'm gonna say Ohio State 2. I'm going to say number 3. I'm gonna say Oregon.
Okay.
4. Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. 4 or 5. 4. I'm going to say. Yeah, I'll. Do I want to say Texas? Yeah, we'll do Texas. Yeah, but I don't think I like that one. And then 5, I'm developer Michigan at 5.
Okay. Oregon was 1. Ohio State was 2. Miami was
Big 10
3.
What? Whoa!
Michigan was 4, and Georgia was 5.
So according to EA Sports, there's a 60%. I know the math doesn't add up like that. A 60% chance a Big Ten team wins the Natty.
Sure.
Sure. I know that doesn't add
now
up.
give me your Heisman winners, and we'll end with this. Top 5 from the simulation.
This one I genuinely.
I will give you this at least. There was only quarterbacks.
Okay, that helps. Number one. Oh well, I'm actually gonna. This might be cheating. I'm gonna say Dylan Gabriel won. If they won the most, now I'm gonna say Dylan Gabriel won. No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying Will Howard. I bet he probably isn't there, but I'm not saying Will Howard. Yeah, no. Dylan Gabriel won. Number 2, give me Quinn. 3, Beck. 4. 5, I'm gonna say Shador. Shador at 5. Who am I gonna put at 4? Milrow.
Okay, so honestly,
I bet Dart's in there. I'm not changing it, but I bet Dart's in that top 5 net, I think. But
so technically speaking, you were fully correct. You just did not want to put Will Howard in there.
Okay.
But Milrow was 1, Howard was 2, Gabriel was 3, Shador was 4, and Carson Beck was 5.
Okay.
So per simulation, so keep in mind, I mean, it's all bullshit anyways, but yeah, so there you guys go to enter the season. Grant, just to let the season go. We're gonna do this. Last 2 things. Game for Saturday night, because this is going up on Saturday. You are taking A&M spread and money line, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm fading.
You're taking A&M spread. I'm gonna take Notre Dame spread. Sunday night, we both have at least USC spread. So there you guys go. Waterboy picks of the week. We'll see how that goes. But
under, actually, I don't love that. Georgia to cover. I don't love picking an under in that game. No, I'm not signing up for an under first game of the year. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be rooting for defense in the first football game of the year. No. Georgia spread. Georgia spread, Penn State spread. Actually, no, I can't. Too many. West Virginia spread, Georgia spread, West Virginia spread, A&M
West Virginia. Spread. Where are we
against Penn State? Against Penn State. Against Penn State.
Okay.
Because I was like, no, there's too many favorites to have. Give me Florida plus 2.5, right? Yeah. Give me Florida plus the points. Those are my picks.
Okay.
And screw it. Give me Ohio State to cover the 49.5 too while we're at it. Sure. I'll take that.
Fuck it. Tarleton State plus 27.5. Let's go. Big Jake.
First touchdown score, Trevion Henderson, that Ohio State game.
With that
touchdown.
Thank you guys so much for watching, listening, raise 5 stars. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and on Twitter at WaterboyPod. You can follow me and Grant on Twitter at Everett and at WaterboyGrant. We post episodes every week on YouTube and all podcast platforms. Make sure to subscribe, follow, so you don't miss a single episode. We also post exclusive content on Instagram and on TikTok, so check us out there. And with that, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Waterboys out.